Hello, parents, viewers, and friends. Welcome to Frank Talk. I'm so excited because this is the first Frank Talk in 2024. And today we're going to be discussing on the topic effects of social media on children. Social media refers to a means of interaction in which people share, create, and exchange information. And we all know too much of everything is bad. We have the negative and the positive effects of social media. And if the negative outweighs the positive, we need to create a balance. And with me to throw more light on this topic, I have Mrs. Ifoma Ikechukwu and Mrs. Mfong Ilhiria. And I'm your host, Ibinabo Abam. Welcome back to the show. You will all agree with me that the negative effects of social media outweighs the positive effects of social media. And so last Sundays ago, I was at church and I sat with this girl. She brought her phone to church, number one, and she was distracting me. I noticed that she was using Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the rest. And I asked her, do your parents approve? And she says yes. And I'm still wondering how a parent of an 11-year-old will allow her, number one, bring phone to our children's church, and number two, be using and be active at those apps at her age. And so that leads us to our first question. Goes to you, Mrs. Mfong. Will you allow your daughter, that's 11-year-old, bring her phone to children's church and still be active on those apps?
No, I would not.
Okay.
I would not. Till she's old enough to manage the phone, it will be the manual Bible,
Okay.
Genesis to Revelation. That's what she's permitted to bring to church.
Wow, thank you. Mrs. Ifoma, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree with my sister Ufon. I can't allow my 11-year-old access to her phone, especially during service. They're not allowed. They are allowed to use their manual Bible. They're not allowed to use their phones to church.
Thank you. We're allowed to use manual Bible to church and not the phone. Thank you so much for that. Our second question goes to you, Mrs. Ifoma. Do you think social media has any positive effects on children?
Yes, we have a lot of, even on adults too, but children, exposure to early exposure, when you expose your children early to social media, it can have different effects like depression. They are exposed to bullying, they're exposed to content that are not for children, they're exposed to a lot of things, a lot of negative effects on them, and that depression, that bullying, they can make mistakes. And latest one I heard of blackmailing. Your children can even experience blackmail on social media. So it's really not good. It's really not good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And it can also affect their brain structure.
Yeah.
Their brain structure where it depends on, it can affect their brain structure.
Yes.
That's what I can say.
Yes, it can affect them because without the screen time, you can, that's to even the basic, you can imagine using your hand, your pencil, your biro to calculate, do simple calculations, 1 plus 2, and when you have to punch a calculator, the difference is clear.
Yes.
Someone that a child that was trained with use the pencil, use the biro to calculate. For me, I think that child is even sharper than the child that was pressing calculator from the beginning of learning mathematics. So same thing applies with the social media. There's some level of exposure that affects your reasoning. Does not allow you use your brain to think out things, think out matters, or think out issues. And it makes you advanced more than your age, in a negative sense. So it negatively impacts their thinking and their reasoning faculties.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. A child that is taught to use a calculator and a child that is using a pen and a biro for basic mathematical calculations, there's a huge difference between them. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Our third question goes to you, ma'am.
Okay.
How do you handle your children's screening time?
Okay, screen time. Thanks to school, there's regulated screen time during the school term.
Okay.
So the work is actually when they're on holidays.
Yeah.
And for me, what I try to regulate is what they watch rather than the length of time they spend on the screen.
Okay.
So I'm knowing, okay, what you're watching, is it intellectual? Or all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah. So there's time to watch things that just help you relax, sing along, or just laugh at whatever jokes, that the cartoons are airing. And then there are times where you have to learn something that is adding to you that day. And then there's also time, I'm a Christian, so there's also time to watch Jesus stuff. So what I do, rather than regulate the length of screen time, is regulate what they watch for the number of hours they're doing screen time.
Thank you so much. Mom, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I kind of regulate. I regulate their screen time in the sense that during the school term, they are allowed to use their phones only when they are doing their assignments, their homework.
Okay.
Then they don't touch their phones till weekend.
Oh,
Okay, but during holiday, we regulate by having a timetable.
yeah.
You wake up, you pray, you study, then they have minimal time, like 2 hours or 3 on their phone, which most part of it is learning. I encourage them to learn because they are on artistic side, they are artists, they know how to draw. So I ensure that most times when they're on their phone, they watch other artists, inspiring stories. Then it will encourage them to draw more. Then when they are off the screen time, they use that time to draw or that time to read. And I also encourage them by buying books for them to read. So instead of having like 5 hours on phone during holiday a day, these cut short by maybe 2 hours. Other ones they use it for reading.
Yeah.
And doing other activities. And
Yes.
I also encourage them to do outdoor games.
Okay.
Yes, we do that a lot. So,
Even in my house, I don't use my phone until it's weekend. So our next question is to your mom. What age do you think is appropriate for a child to start using social media?
Okay. I think when they are mature enough. Yeah. So, and for that, I will put the work of the maturity on the parents.
Okay.
yeah.
So, one, you determine, okay, is my child strong enough intellectually? Is my child strong enough decision-wise? For example, even my 6-year-old, in as much as I have the parenting tab on knowing what she downloads and what she doesn't download, if she has to watch anything on YouTube as she is right now, if she asks, oh mommy, can I watch this? I tell her, I said, with all I've taught you now, do you think you should? So I also put that on her right now sometimes to say, okay, decide with what you know, should you be watching this or shouldn't you be watching this? So even with what she's exposed to, because you can't limit them, they meet other people, school and the rest. So she even comes back to say, oh, mommy, this person was saying this, or this person told me they were watching that, and I don't think it's okay for. So like I said, I will put the responsibility on the parents.
Yes.
First, what are you doing with helping them build that maturity and build that growth? And then after you have taught, you are now also to decide, okay, with everything I've taught, do I think this child is strong enough? So like I said, when I ask my daughter questions and the way she responds, I can determine, okay, she's learning or she still has a bit of progress to make. So for me, it's not about age. For me, it's about, are they mature enough to be let into that world because it's a very big world of social media.
Yes.
It's a very big world of social media, and for you, the way your child grows is determined by you, the parents. Thank you so much for that. Mom, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, what I want to add is in as much as is your work as a parent to determine when your child is supposed to have access to social media, it's also very important to draw them close to you. It's very important to know what happens to them daily, so that you'll be able to know the particular thing that they're exposed to. Like a story I heard a long time ago, a child was exposed to social media blackmail. It was the mom. She was able to find out because she was close to her daughter. The way the daughter was withdrawn, the way she was not going out again socializing. The girl was like 15 years old. The mom had to talk to her, for her to finally open up to the mom that look, because of this, because of that, I'm being bullied, I'm being blackmailed on social media. So it's really important to be close to them, monitor them. Monitoring is important. I can't expose my children. My son is 13 years, I can't expose him to social media. Yet, the only social media account he has is just WhatsApp. So I can't expose him to Instagram, Twitter, and all that. Yes, I'm only comfortable with WhatsApp because I know I can monitor WhatsApp. I don't know about other ones. I might not always be there. So this one is just okay for me right now. So it's determined by you. You know your child. Is he or she old enough? Is he independent? Is he emotionally intelligent? Can he have you trained him or her enough to know her right from wrong? If he's a Christian, have you trained her or he enough to know that this is what a Christian should watch, or this is what a Christian should be exposed to? So it's left for parents to know. The normal age for WhatsApp, Instagram, and other ones at 13 years. But like I said, my child is 13. I'm not yet ready, and he's not ready. So when he's ready, I will know, and I know I will be there to monitor even when he's ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much. Like she said, like Mrs. Mfong said, your child's growth is determined by you, and when you feel like your child is ready to be exposed to apps like this, then go ahead. So,
without monitoring. And it's important to know you monitor.
Yes.
Please don't just leave them, especially WhatsApp. Don't leave your child. Don't assume that your child is old enough. Even if when they are 16, 17, don't assume they are old enough.
True.
You need to monitor them. Be a CID in their life.
True.
In as much as you want to be their friend, be the parent. Be the one to guide them.
True.
Really, be the one to guide them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. So, Mrs. Ifoma, have you had any negative experiences with social media?
Oh, personally, no, I don't. Because they are really not on social media. But I've heard, my friend has had an experience with her children on WhatsApp. She was telling me the other day that her children was added to a group that she didn't approve of. She didn't know. It took time for her to find out. And when she found out, it was when her child was sick, that she had to use her child's phone, her son's phone. That was when she now found out the son was in a group, and she opened the group and she could not even read what was in the group, because the group, they use only emoji to talk.
Wow.
She was just seeing emoji rolling down. She could not understand what they were saying. So, like I said before, that's why it's good to monitor. You don't know what they're talking about. Another person said they were exposed to pornography. Groups that would tell our children to send their nude pictures, that will introduce them to girlfriends and boys, things that they're not old enough to know, to handle, or to even understand. They are telling them, so it's really not nice. No. No, it's really
so
not
if
nice.
you were in the shoes of your friend that's how do I put it? If you were in your friend's shoes that her son was in that group exposed to, what would you have done after you found out?
Okay. If I in my shoes, I will say I will need to call my boy. First of all, I'll have conversations with him to know how, where, and when it all started. By what he or she says, by what he says, I will understand if he has already been exposed to anything on the platform. Do you understand? If I don't understand the emojis, I will go to the length of decoding all of them to understand what the group is all about. If it has a negative impact on him, we will talk about it. If he has been exposed to pornography, we will talk about it, and actually we will need a therapy for that. Yes. So that's what, and continually, and we will now as a family do that therapy just to help the younger ones after him. Yeah.
Mrs. Mfonga, have you had any negative experiences with social media?
No, I don't had any personal experience with negative experience with social media because my kids are not exposed yet to social media, so no personal experience.
Okay. So have you heard of any negative experiences?
Well, yes, I've heard of several, but I would like to tap from the story that Mrs. Ife said. And for me, first thing is to even find out from my child, okay, because for me, some of these things, another way to nip in the bud is your connection with your child, like she said. So what I would first of all want to repair is at what point did we miss it in our connection?
Okay. Wow.
At what point did we miss it in our connection? Because for me, I think if we've gotten that right, then the place of, is this okay? What do you think about this? Would have happened. Where, I'm doing WhatsApp, I'm in this group, what do you think? This is what they are doing there, this is what they are sharing there. And at that point, we now know, no, with what's going on here, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So for me, how I would deal with it is, first of all, try and find out where we missed it in our connection.
Okay.
And then every other thing that Mrs. Ife said will now follow suit.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Sometimes I feel like us kids we make friends and we have conversation with our friends, and at a point we don't want to leave our friends because of anything, because of whatever bad thing they do. And when they begin to share it with us, we feel like they are our friend and we should be with them no matter what, and we don't go ahead to tell our parents, so we don't break our friendship and we don't lose our friends.
Okay.
So what do you think about that?
Okay. I think it also boils down to having that close relationship with your child, to know that he or she is safe with you, that she should tell you the problem of the friend. If you are close with your child and they discuss that problem, it doesn't mean that you cut your friend off. It depends on what the friend is being exposed to or the friend is doing. It really, the thing is horrible, terrible, like being exposed to pornography or being exposed to molestation or something that is really terrible, then you need to tell your parents so they can maybe talk to your friend's parents and they know how to. So your friend's parents will know how to deal with it, and not you putting yourself in it or trying to cover up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So
yes.
what do you have to say?
Yeah, I go with her on that. And also, as you share with your parents, and your parents is saying, this is out of bounds, you shouldn't be involved in this, you shouldn't do this, you should also be bold enough to stand for what is right.
Yeah.
So for me, after that conversation with your parents, the next thing is having a talk with your friend to say, I don't think this is right, I don't think we should be doing this at our age, I don't think this is good for us as Christians, I don't think. And if they are not close, you may not know what relationship they have with their parents. For me, the next question is, okay, I spoke to my mom about this because of the relationship we have. Know that it's a no judgment zone.
Okay.
Is it okay if if you talk to my mom or talk to my dad about this that we are experiencing. Because sometimes not even talking to their parents, it's not because they don't want to. Sometimes they are also afraid of judgment.
Yes.
Yes.
At that age, they are afraid of judgment. So there's a way you can correct a child. There are stages, there at the different stages of a child's life, there are different ways to correct that child.
Okay.
What would apply for a 2-year-old will not apply for a 13-year-old
yeah.
or a 17-year-old. So it's for parents to understand that.
Yes.
So you talk to your friend, is it okay for you to talk to my mom or talk to my dad about this? If the friend says, oh yes, please, I wouldn't mind, then you know that that friend is ready to get help.
Yes.
That friend is ready for change. But at the point where the friend starts to get angry at you for even discussing with your parent, or is never ready to also seek help, for me, I would advise you cut off. You cut off, because eventually that person wants to bring you into the mud that he or she is in.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the point where the person doesn't want help, or the person doesn't think
You cut
he
off.
should, you cut off.
Just cut
That's
off.
what it is for me.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for all you said on Frank Talk. We really appreciate your presence.
And another thing I want to add
Okay.
to what he said, like I always do to my children,
Okay.
I always ask them, who are you? Always let them know who they are.
Yeah.
If they are okay, if they know who they are, they can associate with some things.
Yes.
Always try to ask your children, let them know who they are. Make it known to them. Let them have the knowledge of who they are. You are a child of God. You are a child of this. You are not supposed to do this. You are not supposed to do that. If they have that thing at the back of their mind, already they know they are not supposed to do that thing their friends did.
Yes.
So-
Thank you so much for all you said on Frank Talk. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Friend, even though your parents are not there, even if no one is there to monitor you on what you're watching, please always ask yourself this question: will Jesus approve?
Yeah.
Will Jesus approve? And trust me, it will really help. Auntie Ify, what advice will you give parents out there on handling their kids and social media?
Okay. My advice is to be a parent to that child. You know your child. Don't compare him or her to other one. That your friend's son or your friend's daughter is exposed to social media at a particular age, or that they have access to social media, but doesn't mean that your child can handle it. Know your child. Be a parent to that child. As much as you're being a friend, be a parent. You can as much as be a CID. I'm proud to say I'm a CID to my children. I monitor them too. I also parent them, especially my 13-year-old. I can say I also coach him, because I think he has passed that age of really beating and telling him. I know I have already done that. So now I'm more of a coach. I talk to him, I mentor him. So be that to your child. Be intentional. Don't leave them to chance. I beg you, parents. A lot is happening on social media. A lot is happening with our children. They're being exposed to a lot. So be intentional. Even as we are chasing the bags, please can we chase after our children to help them become all they have been created to become, so that we will not cry at the end of the day. We will surely eat the fruit of our labor. So let us do the labor. At the end of the day, we'll eat the fruit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Auntie Ify. Auntie Fong, what do you have to say about it?
The book of Proverbs says, train up a child in the way he should go. So that applies to every aspect of their life, including what they are exposed to. Train up a child in the way he should go. And definitely when he's old, he will not depart from it.
Viewers, I hope you've heard what our guests have said. For the parents, please parent your child and train up your child in the way he should go, and when he grows old, he will not depart from it. And friends, please, whoever is making you do what you don't want to do at your age, whoever is exposing you to social media, cut off. Don't be afraid to cut them off, because someone will always come. Viewers, I hope you've heard what our guests have said today. So even if your parents are not there to monitor what you're watching, even if no one is there, always ask yourself this question: will Jesus approve?
True.
Yes, I am your host and I remain your delectable Ibinabo Abam. See you in our next episode.